Hello, thank you for watching this Furniture Command Center video. We're glad to have you as part of the FCC family. And if you're new to our application, here are some of the suggested first steps you take once you log into FCC. Now, as you'll see here, this is our home page when you log in. At the very beginning is a calendar, and there are several spots where you can put in dates in FCC, which will flow to this calendar. But just generally speaking, here is how you navigate around through the system. FCC uses this navigation system, which you'll see at the top. As you hover over the options, a menu will drop down, which you can drill down into the specific link. You can also click on just the top option, and that will give you all of the options for that section. A super handy reference is up here in the upper right-hand corner. This is a quick search that will find, well, just about anything through FCC. You can search for customers, you can search for phone numbers, acknowledgement numbers, you name it. Just start typing, and the drop-down will give you all of the options that it matches. Go down and click on the one that you're interested in, and it'll take you right to that resource. One of the first steps we recommend you doing is go under My Account, Account Information, and verify that we've put in all the information correctly about your profile. If you are involved with multiple sales groups, here is where you'll set your default sales group when interacting through FCC. Likewise, in your account information, if you have integration with Google or Office 365 turned on, you'll see a section down here on the left-hand side. The link here to integrate together will open a pop-up window that will let you give FCC authorization to your email. If you choose to do this, then any emails that you send from Furniture Command Center will be sent as you. It'll be just the same as if you went into Google or Office 365 or Outlook and composed a new message and sent it directly from that tool. In fact, you'll see a copy of the emails that come from FCC in your Sent folder. Likewise, calendar events can also be synchronized to an external calendar. You follow the exact same steps and grant FCC permissions to do so on your behalf. After you get logged in, it's useful to check through the different companies. Let's first look at the customers. That's this menu option over on the left-hand side, and you can click on View Search Customers and see the customers that are in FCC. Clicking on the pencil for any of them will allow you to edit the customer if you have appropriate privileges. Throughout FCC, you'll see these tabs across the top. This is how you navigate through that particular resource. For example, for this customer, we have some basic information about the customer. We have their addresses, points of contact, payment terms, interaction ledger, and all the quotes and orders for this particular client. All of the companies, be it the customer, the vendor, or the installer sections, all work the same and have these tabs across the top. After you familiarize yourself with the companies, the next step would be to go and see an existing quote. Under Quote and Order, you can click on View Recent Activity or search quotes and orders to see other quotes that have been put into the system. Now let's go through the process of creating our very first quote. First, we'll have to make sure that we have a customer and at least one vendor that we can use. To create a new customer, go under the Customer drop-down and click Create New Customer. In this case, I have a single sales group, which is already selected for me, and I'll put in a customer name that we'll use for our test. Sometimes, as you create a new customer or vendor or installer, you'll get a little confirmation screen if FCC has found an existing entry that is very similar. You can confirm that this is a different customer or view the old customer to see if they needed to be merged together. In this case, this is a brand new one, so I'm going to continue to create anyway. Now, the only required information that you need at the very beginning is at least one address. I'm going to click on this Add New Address and put in a brand new address. The zip code is very important since FCC uses real-time tax calculation to figure out what the tax rates are for the final location of a specific client. Now you can look up the zip code and FCC will find the state and the city, or you can validate this address to the USPS standards. I'm going to leave it as is and click Save Address. Likewise, you'll do the exact same steps for vendor, making sure that you have at least one vendor with at least one address. To create a first quote, you can go to several different places. If you're in the customer profile, you can go to the Quotes and Orders tab and click Create New Quote. Alternatively, you can also go under the Quote and Order and click Create New Quote from this spot as well. From here, simply select your sales group if you have multiple sales groups. You can select your customer from the list or search. Click on the customer, click on the location, and then start with blank quote. Now this is a brand new quote with just the basic information filled out. We've got our bill to over on this side, our final location over here. At any time we can go under advanced options and we can load in a CIF file if we choose so. Loading in a CIF file is easy. We can take exports from all the major design tools and load them into FCC. Likewise, you can also export an FCC quote to a CIF file and move it over to a design tool. So you can go backwards and forwards from both FCC and design tools using the CIF format. In this case, I'm just going to manually add in a line item. I'm going to go back to my Quote Details tab, and I'm going to click Add New Item at the bottom. Now at the top here, I have my vendor, and I have a ship to. In this case, I'm going to use the manufacturer Han as our test example. As I start typing, I'll get the drop down, I'll select it, and it'll pre-populate all the information for me. And in this case, I'm going to use a third-party installer. So I'll select Installer, and same thing, just start typing and it'll automatically pre-populate. The next step is to put in the product information. In this case, I'm going to use a quantity of 1. Since this is Han, I have electronic catalogs, which I could click on this link, go through the catalog list if I'd like. In this case, I will. The FCC catalogs are typically updated once a week, usually on Monday. This took the latest pricing from the catalog, although you are certainly free to override either the product number or the description or any of the pricing information as well. Now, even if the item is not from a catalog, FCC is going to remember these products moving forward. So anytime I go to use this guest chair in a future order, FCC will prompt me with another drop down as I start typing and the ability to copy the information from this quote into my new quote. Down here at the bottom, this is a traditional order. So I have a list price followed by a dealership discount, which will generate my cost, and then using a margin that will generate my sell price. Now please note that this is using a GP and not a markup, which is a slightly different calculation. The profit is generated by using the difference between the sell price and the cost. Now all of these, the item, the freight, and the delivery/setup line, are all unit prices. So all of them are multiplied by the quantity to get the extended total. You can feel free to add in the freight and the delivery/setup at the line item level, or under global options, you can add those charges at the order level as well. I'm going to click Save Changes. If I choose to, I can also upload a product image. In addition, I have up to 6 different option images that I can include as well. And those could be for fabric or pulls or casters or any other specific option that you'd like to highlight specifically. When it comes to the printed reports, for example, the customer quote, I'll have not only my main product image, but any optional option images will be shown underneath. Up at the top, I have the navigation icons, and if I hover over them, FCC will tell me exactly what will happen if I click on those icons. This makes it very easy to navigate forward and backwards within the line items in this quote, to create a new line item, to duplicate an existing line item, to delete a line item, or under this gear icon to access additional options. I'm going to save and return to my quote overview. So here I have one product, and then down at the bottom I have the financial information based on the items in my quote. The tax, if I hover over the tax icon, I'll see that FCC automatically generated my tax rate based on the final location of this project. In this case, it's going to Centerville, Virginia, which is in Fairfax County, which has a current tax rate of 6%. That tax has automatically been applied to this item, which will generate my total. There are lots of defaults here in FCC. For example, you can have an overall dealership default requested of 50% and maybe a default margin of 28%. But all of those can be set at the customer level and then individually down here at the proposal level. For example, I could change from net 30 to net 15 for this proposal, or I could change my deposit requested by just clicking on the link and making that change. I can continue to add line items, notes, groupings, anything else I need to fill out this proposal. A couple of things to take note of. Under the advanced options, this is a spot for the summary information, which is an easy way of categorizing what this particular proposal is, and a spot where I can upload any number of attachments that will stay as part of this proposal. If I make a mistake and select the wrong customer, it's easy to switch those customers. Likewise, additional options at the top include global options, which is the ability to make changes across the quote all at once, a summary information tab, which will show me roll-up information across vendors and installers, SPIF information tab, and an audit log that will show major changes to this quote. Now, once I create this quote, I can get back access to it at any time through a variety of different methods. Of course, I can go under Quote in Order and view my recent activity, and that will float to the top. Likewise, I could go under Quote in Order and search quotes and orders, and it'll again float to the top, or you could search for it specifically. Or perhaps maybe just the easiest is I could use the upper right hand corner to search for it and go directly there. And clicking on the search result will take me right back to the quote. It's easy to go back in and make any changes or edits. Just click on the pencil and you're right back to where you were inside this line item. Those are the first steps I would recommend taking when logging into Furniture Command Center the very first time. Go in and get familiar on how to navigate around through the system. Double check your customers. Make sure vendors and installers are entered into the system. And of course, you can create brand new quotes at any time. There's also a whole host of reports that you can investigate, and we have other optional videos that will go into each of these reports in more detail. After you've done these first few steps in FCC, feel free to check out other videos to walk through other features in more depth, or, of course, just give our help desk a call or an email or a chat, and we'll be happy to answer any other questions you might have. Thanks for watching this video, and have a great day.